This daf Yerushalmi Pesachim. The article Oz V'Adishon Daf Samach Dalet Amud Aleph. We are in the fourth line. Rabbi Imi B'Shem Rabbi Elazar. This is in the Vilna. Hadaf Nun Dalet Amud Aleph. About halfway down the Amud. It's 3, 6, 9. About 12 lines to the bottom. Rabbi Mishem said, why do they say the bones and the sinews and the nose are all burnt on the 16th? Now, the Korban says that he takes out the couple of the items here. He says, the question is only on the bones. Perushin is with, even if you don't take that out, it's obviously the meaning. The kasha yaniachal etzen gecholim biyu dalid. Put on the bone coals on the 14th day. Yotzi mechshabo, and they remove the marrow, and the people will be able to subscribe to the marrow of the bones in the Korban Pesach. So why do you have to wait till the 16th? So Gemara says, I'll tell you why. Because burning is a form of breaking. And therefore, as the Korban says, even though burning is obviously not completely like breaking, but it is breaking, and therefore you are not allowed to do it in order to get at the marrow, in order to be to subscribe. At a certain point, obviously you burn it because it becomes a mitzvah to burn it, but not at this point. Shmuel said, "Nimnim Marsha Barosh." You can subscribe to the brain in the head, which is, of course, use the word mach interchangeably for brain and marrow in Hebrew. You can use you can subscribe to the brain in the head. You can't subscribe to the marrow in the hip bone. Evidently, the hip bone has a lot of marrow because it's used as the primary example. I've had it the second time already in this plot. Yesterday and today. So why it was different? The Nimna Mach Barosh, you can subscribe to the Mach in the head, because you couldn't move it without breaking anything through the ear. You can't subscribe to the marrow in the hip bone. The only way you can get out is through breakage. Rabbi Yechon Amar Nimna Mach Bakulis. It says you can't subscribe on the to the marrow which is in the hip bone, and obviously it's Korban Eda. Because some of the soref eino kashover. He goes that burning is not like breaking, so therefore you would be allowed to burn on Yud Daled, the bone open, and eat the marrow. Rabbi Yaakov said, you cannot. It's a chatchila. Be subscribed to the marrow in the bone. If you did, you did. So b'diavad, it's okay. It's okay, but l'chatchila we don't allow you to burn the bone. B'diavad, if you did, okay, it works. So says Gemara, al dait Rabbi Yochanan b'soref v'yimneh. I understand why l'chatchila not. You should be able to. Obviously, it's like the Yerushalmi area after she like Yimnevi Saref, right? You should subscribe and then burn it. But same idea. If you're able to burn it, so you should be able to subscribe to it. So why not? So it says more B'nei Ovdon Kachim, because it's lost of Kachim, because as the Korban says, Tiklamech Mavsid HaMoech Aidei Sreifa. They're going to cause a loss to the marrow by burning it. And because you dime. And you're going to cause a loss of kachim deliberately, and deliberately is the right term, but with your activity, in an active way. Better that it be compulsed on its own, and then you have to burn it, rather than burning the chatchila and then cause hefsei kachim when, of course, it's still kachim ksherim. Okay, now the Gemara says, Shmuel, according to Shmuel, Yisaref v'yimneh. So according to Shmuel says, let's burn and let's subscribe to it. So the Korban changed the girsa. Korban changed the girsa to Dr. Shmuel. You start with Yehneh la'achash Yehneh. I should stress that. Obviously, we just said that Shmuel holds you can't burn it on Yud Dalet. So obviously, it can't be nimna. So what's we're asking that you should be able to burn and subscribe. So that's why God may change it to Yaneh Lachashanas and Noisa, because obviously according to Shmuel, so that you're not allowed to burn it. That's before it becomes Nosar. When it becomes Nosar, it becomes a mitzvah to burn it. So be able to burn it and have enough from the bone. In other words, burn bone open, take out the marrow, burn the marrow separately, and have enough from the rest of the bone. Why can't you do that? So going with the Korban Eidas gear, so the Gemara's answer is Shmuel Rabbi Yaakov. Shmuel is like Rabbi Yaakov, which we had yesterday. The Rabbi Yaakov Omar Abba B'Kosher B'Shom Rishon V'Nitma also B'Shviras Etzem. No, once you can't once it was brought B'Kashrus, that's it. There's no Shviras Etzem, and even in the state where you must burn it, because it's nice, so you can't burn it and extract the marrow. I'd like to elaborate on that a little bit to say that it's burning anyway, right? So it's burning anyway. So therefore, you might say, okay, even Shmuel, you should be allowed to at this point jump in and get the marrow out while it's burning. No, he says that this is. It's evidently perhaps it's in the Rabbanon that you shouldn't do it because you might come to break it, actually be a dime, or burn it when it's not yet suitable to be burned. But in any event, he says that Adasof, till the very end, you're not allowed to burn it in order to get the marrow, in order to derive enough from it, even at the time when it's already a carbon puzzle. So all the Mefarshim do not change the Girsa besides the Korban Eidah, and it's very difficult though actually to sustain the Girsa as it's written here, and everybody spends a lot of ink trying to make it work. This Shaka B'Tari, the old Girsa of Yimna, because Shmuel was quite clear before that you can't be Nimna on the Malach Shebekulis. Initially, at this point, I went on to try and explain how it would work out with the Girsa Yimna, but it's extremely difficult, and everybody who does it has to either put in a lot of assumptions or change a lot of the Gemara and come up. The Shari herself basically throws the Gemara up in the air and puts all the components in different places. So it's best and most glad to just go with the Korban Eidah and change the gears to Tiana, and we're going to stick with that. And we're going to go on to the next part of the Gemara. Says Mari so much why specifically do you say that you burn on the 16th? It says Velo a boker. The pasuk says don't leave in the morning, but a boker that was made to the morning, but eish to sofu. So it says boker twice in the pasuk. Achar shnei bekorim, after 2 mornings. Achar boker shel abasar, after the morning of the 14th. Achar bokro shel chamisha asar, and after the morning of the 15th. Okay, so bokro, the 14th, evidently doesn't necessarily mean the morning here, but rather means that the daytime. Okay, so the daytime of the 14th, you don't burn it. The daytime of the 15th, you don't burn it. The daytime of the 16th is when you burn it. Now that's the Vilna's Girsa, but the Art Scroll changes the Girsa to the way it is in the Yerushalmi Pesachim Shabbos, Perek Beis Halach Aleph, which is Achar Bokro Shel Chamisha Asar, Achar Bokro Shel Shisha Asar. In other words, after the morning of the 15th, after the 16th. So Boker would mean, in this case, actually daybreak. And it's saying that you don't burn daybreak of the 15th, you burn after daybreak of the 16th on the 16th in the morning, which is a lot more glot that we have in front of us in the Vilna. Okay, the next line seems rather gratuitous. Uksiv about Shlamim says Anoisim B'Sar Zebach Yom HaShlishi B'Eish Yisrael, that was left over from the B'Sar Zebach on the 3rd day, but you should burn in the fire. It says the Korban Eidah Noisim Kumar Matzino Kayetzi B'Zeh. We find something similar to this Shenisa B'Yom HaShlishi, which is burnt on the 3rd day. B'Shlamim Echol Mishtei Yomim B'Layla Echad. To Shlamim, which is eaten for 2 days and 1 night. That you leave it to the next. You leave it the next day. So even though it becomes possible in the morning of Tez Vav, nevertheless we leave it over till Tez Zayin because of Yontif, And it's not, there's precedent for this. In other words, you don't always burn immediately when something becomes nosar, because we find the same thing by Shlomim. It becomes nosar at the end of the second day, and it don't burn until the following morning. Okay, so it's not clear 100% why we have to bring the riot from Shlomim here, and the Chaim Kanievsky, the article, suggests some more elaborate reason, but seems just that we're fine. That nicer. You don't always burn at the moment it becomes nicer. You wait till later on. The Mashbiach back in Masechet Shabbos said that this is brought down in order to explain why we're not burning the nosar on Motzei Yontif itself. So saying that we don't burn Motzei Yontif because the precedent is from Shlomim, just like by Shlomim you wait till the next morning. So to by the Korban Pesach, we don't do it Motzei Yontif. We wait till the next morning. Okay, this as you mentioned, this sugya is brought down in Shabbos, and the next part of the sugya is brought down in Masechet Shabbos in Perek Beis Halacha Aleph and Tesvav and Aleph in the Vilna, a much greater length than it is here. Here it's much more shorthand, and we'll try and deal with this sugya here is in front of us, even though there are a lot more lines, a lot more material there in Masechet Shabbos. So Mora says, can you ignite the fire with Mduras Chametz? This is Korban Eda. Merev Yontif, Shetayit Lekas B'Yontif. Can you start a fire with Chametz and use that fire on Yontif? So Mandi Olav Min Neisar. He says that he learns out according to the Korban Eda, we're learning out the question of Bir Chametz, whether we learn how Bir Chametz or Nosar or not. The Mashbiach says that Mandi Olav Min Neisar, Mashbiach back in Shabbos, says that if you learn out from Neisar, but you're not allowed to do on Yontif. Not allowed to do on Neisar, you have to wait after Yontif. So therefore it's Osir, right? We don't just like we don't burn Neisar on Yontif, even though what's the issue? Especially if we started before Yontif. No, you don't burn a nice and Yontif, because so too you're not also by chametz. You're not going to do. You can't burn the chametz on Yontif, even start before Yontif. Manda lo yalif me a nicer. He doesn't for nicer. Mutter. He says nicer is a special halacha. That's doesn't apply to chametz. So I think you do have commented by the Korban Eda saying that reason to learn from noise and not learn from noise depends on whether you hold Bir Chametz is bestrayed for or not, is because that's the basis for learning from Neisar. But it's really different, of course, because Neisar is Kachim and this is not Kachim, but and there's a special law of Ein Sor from Kachim Yontif. But nevertheless, the Gemara says if you learn out from Neisar, the Bir Chametz is B'Sreifa, so then you apply the same parameters here. If you don't learn Bir Chametz from Neisar, then you don't apply the parameters, and then it'll be permitted to start the fire from before Yontif and then continue the fire on Yontif itself. And evidently we're not choishish for this or Hanoah once you start burning it. Now, according to Pnei Moshe, the next part of the Gemara is going to go back on our Mishnah. In Masechet Shabbos, going on Shemetz Reifa. It's a whole different discussion there. But here he says, going back on our Mishnah, where it says that that, and he's saying that, says Pnei Moshe, Hani D'Mastiskai She'imim Nisrafim Shlo B'Zmanon, the burn Shlo B'Zmanon Kol Shechal Tezayin B'Shabbos, Sofim Nami B'Layla Shel Yudzayin. Then they can be burnt even at the night of the 17th. And that's like Rabbi Shmuel. The Gemara says, Rabbi B'Chi Yodla Kshitas Rabbi Shmuel. Kamar Rabbi Shmuel Amar Tamon Teinik Shover Zmanon Nimo Ben B'Om B'Layla. Once we don't pass away from meal, of course, but it's similar halacha here. It's interesting, Yerushalmi connection, right? Even though we don't pass like Rabbi Shmuel, here it's a similar idea. Once you can start burning them, you can burn them day and night. In other words, you have to start burning the morning. You can't burn it during the night. But once you start burning something puzzle, once the heter kicks in to start burning it, then you can continue burning it throughout the day and throughout the night. So, over Zmanon, Nisa Ben Bayom Ben Balayla. Once over Zmanon, you can burn it day and night. You don't have to. If you didn't finish burning it during the day of the 17th, you have to stop the night of the 17th, then the next day, continue into the night of the night, and burns around the clock. Okay, halachi alf. Kol necha b'shor gadol, anything which came in a large ox, the yochel b'gdiya rak can be eaten in a soft lamb. The which obviously for the Korban Pesach, which is a lamb, not an ox. And we're saying that by the lamb of the Korban Pesach, that even stuff which is now soft, but is eventually going to be hard, you can't eat. Okay, you can't count as part of the Korban Pesach. We're going to discuss obviously the Gemara. Actually, I mean, where it discusses it right, Mishnah discusses it right here. So it says that. It's the Rosh Knafayim, which are the ends of the shoulder bones, and the Askusim are the cartilage, which is somewhat soft. So these can be cooked in a large ox and eaten. So even though they're somewhat tough, they're soft enough to be eaten, and so too you can be even on them in the Korban Pesach. You can roast them, and a person can eat them as the mitzvah Korban Pesach. That's brings down that that's Rashi in the Korban Pesach. The Rambam says that we're talking about which bones there is din of shvius etzem. The parts which are eventually going to get hard are considered to be bones even by, but in a large ox, going to be bones even in a lamb where they're still soft. You're not allowed to break them. And the Ravid says to tell you about what's going to be nicer and whatever is considered to be can be eaten by a large ox. You have to eat it by a soft lamb, and if you don't eat it, it becomes nicer after Pesach. And the next part of paper, Mishnah goes on to the halach of Shavuot Etzem. Shavuot Etzem Pesach Torah. So. Shavuot Etzem Pesach Tor. Somebody who breaks a bone in a Pesach, which is Tor, which is kosher, raise a low carbon, gets 40 lashes. Most if somebody does leaves over, and Shavuot B'Tomei, somebody breaks the Korban Pesach, which became Tomei. Ain't Lucas Haboim. He does get Malchus, but the most years of it's a lav sheba ma'isa and Pesach Tomei, because it says as Korban example lo tishburo d'chsibo b'kosher v'lo apostle. Lo tishburo by a Korban Pesach isn't by a Korban kosher, not by a Korban apostle. So what it says gidim arakim, the soft sinews. It says in the neck of the lamb, which are soft, but when because the lambs become older, they're going to become hard. Another example is these are sinews which are in the spine. So these are sinews. Rabbi Yochanan says you can subscribe to them to Korban Pesach. Shemloch says they're not considered to valid for subscription. Rabbi Yaakov Baracha b'Shem Rabbi Zira said Mechavish Yitos Rabbi Yochanan Mechavish Yitos Rabbi Shimon Lakish. There seems to be a contradiction in both the Shita of Rabbi Yochanan and the Shita of Reish Lakish. Disparking because they have a machlikas. About Tum Tarat. Nia Tamar. We learned over there. Elusho saying Kibsar. These are the animals where the hide is soft and therefore it's metame, as if it is flesh. Or adam, the hide of a human being, for chazir sheshuv, and the hide of a domesticated pig. Yosemer or chazir bar, even the hide of a wild boar. Or chateres agamal haraka, the hide of the hump of a young camel. The Korban says as long as it hasn't started bearing burdens. The or haroshel egal arach, the hide of the head of a soft calf. The Korban says as long as it's nursing, it's still going to be a soft calf. Or beis haprosos. the hide of the which is just above the hooves, and you cut the hooves. There's evidently a very soft hide there. Or Beis Haboshes, the hide of the Beis Haboshes, the literally means the place of shame, means the hide where the uterus of a female animal. Or Ashlil, the hide of a shlil of a fetus. Or Shetachas Alya, the hide underneath the tail. Var Hanoka Vakoch Vator Vachoitim, and these are all types of uh, rodents, if I recall correctly. Rashi says the article brings down from Rashi that Anoka is a hedgehog. A koch is a type of lizard. Lota is also a type of lizard, and chomet is a type of snail. And obviously, there are many other interpretations for these things. But the Rabbi Yomer Hatav v'chulda. It says a lata is like a chulda. It's like a mole, and it's evidently it's the skin, the hide is not soft, and it does not have the same size as the flesh. Any of these which you walked on them, and that already starts working them, or anytime you work them, or you walked on them enough kadei avoda, turn the tar, because they're no longer considered to be like skin, like flesh. Except for the hide of human being, they're famous gzeira, there in Gemara Chulin that says that we don't want people to make lampshades and carpets out of their deceased relatives. Rabbi Yochanan says the 8 rodents listed in Torah their hides are separate than their flesh, and they're not metame. So Rabbi Yochanan said lo shana el iser letuma. That which you say or saying kibsaron is only in terms of iser. They are not allowed to eat them. In other words, they're considered to be edible, and therefore they're usher because they're treif. And l'tuma they're metame like the flesh. It says et mein lechen rabbos shor saying kibsaron. Avo lilkos, but to get malchus, if you ate them, there's no malchus. It's also eat them, but there's no malchus, because orhu, it's hide. Don't get malchus because the vela, whatever other is involved, because of that they are like hide. So why is it maybe they like hide? They're soft now because sof and laxus are eventually going to be hard, and that's going to be difficult. Rabbi Yochanan said that gidim raki your nimna aleim. He says no, even though they're going to get hard right now, they're not hard, and therefore they are you get malchus as well, and that's going to be difficult. In Rabbi Shimon Lakashita by us, we just said that ain't imoleh, that gidim rakim, even though now they're soft, since they're going to become hard, you can't subscribe them. So they contradict themselves. They're in terms of what the parameters are of sof and lahakshos. We're already way on Samachem and Alf. So I think we'll have to stop here and come back to the resolution of the question tomorrow.